Hi, my name's Mike, and I am a left-handed guitar player. I have been playing guitar for 17 and a half years. Every one of those years has been left-handed. I remember playing a bass guitar, the first guitar-like instrument I ever played at the time, and it was a right-handed bass. It belonged to my friend's dad, and he handed it to me and said, "Here, play this." And I held it naturally, like this. He said, "No, that's the wrong way," and we flipped it the other way. It was very difficult for me to play guitar or bass like this. So while he walked away, I flipped it over the other way and was playing it upside down and said, "Hey, this is way easier for me. Why don't I just do it this way?" He said, "No, flip it the other way." So I stored that in the back of my mind for when I asked my dad to get me a guitar, to tell his dad to piss off, and for my dad to buy me a left-handed guitar. Could have possibly been a very terrible mistake. Some could say it was a choice because I could have chosen to learn right-handed. If that's the case, I chose to play the way that I naturally felt I wanted to play. And I think that also has its advantages, but that's getting a little further into the video. Today, I am here to bitch about why it sucks being a left-handed guitar player. Yes, at the end of the day, this is definitely not the worst thing in the world to happen. This is absolutely hashtag first world problems. And I'll even admit, they're not the most bothersome things to me. You kind of just learn to live with these things after a while and accept them as your reality. But it's nice to bitch about it every once in a while too. So first thing, you can't use most other people's instruments. You can't reach out to a friend and ask them to borrow their axe 99% of the time unless you are intentionally playing a right-handed axe for some reason, or unless they're really cool and let you reverse the strings and get a whole new setup. I don't have any friends that are that cool. So if you're traveling and you lose your instrument breaks, or you forget it somewhere, like I happened to do yesterday for band practice, I forgot my guitar, idiot me, you're stuck. You have a network worth of arsenal full of guitars that you can't use 99% of the time. If your friend has a guitar that you're interested in, you can't really try it out. Yeah, you can flip it upside down and play with the strings upside down, but you're not really getting a good feel for what that instrument is. For most left-handed players, that's not how we normally play. I know what you're saying, Mike. If you break or lose or forget your instrument, you should always have a backup instrument with you. Oh! Sure, I'll just hop on over to my local guitar store and buy a guitar. Oh wait. When you get to a certain proficiency of playing, you really can't shop at most guitar stores. I know of one guitar shop that is exclusively for left-handed guitars in Houston, Texas, but that's in Houston, Texas. I remember being at the Guitar Center in Monroeville, Pennsylvania, and they had an Ibanez Gem, Steve Vai's signature guitar, who he is my favorite guitar player. I was giddy with excitement. I was so ready to try this guitar out. They don't make left-handed, so obviously it was a right-handed guitar. Not only was I severely out of practice, it was also upside down. And I plugged it in and I tried to start playing it, and it sounded like shit, and it absolutely diarrheaed all over my hopes and dreams. There is seriously a part of me that died inside when that finally happened. If you see some cool nifty guitars in the guitar store, you can't even try them out to see if you like them. As I introed into this section of the video, it makes it harder to acquire backup instruments for yourself since less of them are available. And the prices on left-handed guitars are typically more expensive to the exact same guitar right-handed. That's very real. Usually when you walk into any guitar store, you are stuck with a price range between $100 and $350 tops, and it's almost always a Squier Strat or a Squier Telecaster or some type of Epiphone, either a Les Paul or an SG, and they always suck dick. I saw an Ibanez Geo once and I about laughed my ass off. And the Lefty jokes. Oh, the numerous, never heard them a million times Lefty jokes. Look, these don't really bother me that much, but I've heard them about a bajillion times. And we even used one in Tyler's video over in Music Is Win, with the left-handed stool thing, which I thought was hilarious. That wasn't even my idea. That was somebody else's in the room, and it was like so perfect. But that same joke of, oh, I don't know if we have any left-handed strings. I don't know if we have any left-handed picks. I don't know if we have any left-handed amps. I don't know if we have any left-handed pots. That's actually a real thing. For those of you who don't know, pot is short for potentiometer. The common jargon for it is the knobs on your guitar, which segues me into the next segment, logistics of being a left-handed player. Yes, there are such things as left-handed volume knobs and tone knobs, and I would have never known that till the day that I had to get them changed. So here is a left-handed pot. You know, everything normal. And here is installed a right-handed pot on a left-handed guitar. Witness. It's backwards. Is it the worst thing in the world? No, but it is a big pain in the butt. Another thing that's a big pain in the butt, your bridge and your nuts. Your bridges and your nuts need to be set up for lefties. I remember specifically on this very nice guitar that I own, when I got it, it had the normal standard strings on it, 10 to 46. And I decided, you know what? Let's go 12 to 56. I want to go to C standard and make this baby growl. Suddenly I was having a lot of issues with the bridge and the strings slipping off and buzzing issues. And I take a closer look at my bridge, and lo and behold, the bridge is set up for right-handed. The saddles on the bridge with the larger divot are on my high E string, and the bridge saddle with the smaller divot is on this 56 gauge string, the smallest divot holding this 56 gauge string. Needless to say, I was a little pissed that their QA department missed that, and I had to take time out of my day to reverse the saddles on that bridge. Many small pieces in a tight space that's a pain in the butt to do. Other logistical problems. Unless you are at the front of the stage, you are pretty much relegated to stage left. If you're stage right and the person next to you is stage left, 99% of the time they're right-handed. And there is a high likelihood that the headstocks of each of your guitars are gonna hit one another. So at a show, like the show we just played this past Saturday, I have to front the band at the moment since we have no vocalist, but I don't have long enough cables to get me center stage, so I am stuck off on stage left, and there is a giant monitor obscuring my face. Or does any jamming, practice, or rehearsal scenario, everyone is right-handed, and you have to adjust yourself accordingly to make sure you don't hit anyone's headstock or hit anyone in general with your headstock. The last thing on this list is always being compared to Jimi Hendrix. Don't get me wrong, while it's flattering to some degree, it's also kind of annoying because I don't sound anything like Jimi Hendrix, and he's not the only left-handed player to have ever friggin' existed. Tony Iommi, Albert King, Dick Dale, Zachy Vengeance. While nobody typically knows this, Angelo Batio, you know, the guy that plays with 4 guitar necks and does them all at the same time. He learned to play both ways on the guitar because he started left-handed and then realized he couldn't play most guitars that would ever be made, so he taught himself right-handed. So that's all the things I could come up with as far as negatives about being a left-handed player. If you're a lefty player or you know any lefty players, let me know what your struggles are in the comments below. But now I want to talk about some things that are awesome about being left-handed. One, if you get a guitar from a custom shop that's not super well known, there is a very good likelihood that your guitar is technically one of a kind, and that's just a cool thing to say. Two, I've heard this a lot, and I can kind of see where people are coming from and seeing lefties play, and when they write, lefties just think significantly differently than righties. People describe it sometimes as being able to be more creative. I mean, there is things to suggest that being left-handed means you use the right side of your brain, which is more responsible for creativity. But in this particular case, I don't think that's what fits here. I just think it's a difference in perspective, and that difference in perspective opens up a different world of possibilities and ways that you arrange what part of the universe you are allowed to control within the set of rules that we have. Another one, if someone asks to borrow your guitar or to play your guitar, you can tell them to piss right off. I have done this so many times and it's extremely satisfying. I don't like people touching my instruments, especially when I don't trust them. If they are actually friends, or if they're people who I've seen them play and I'm like, okay, I can trust you, I like you, I respect you, you can touch my instrument even though I know you can't play it. But we've all been in that situation where you just get off the stage at a small show and some dumbasses ask, hey, can we hold your guitar? Can we play your guitar? I don't know you from Adam. I just saw you picking your fucking nose over there and wiping your ass with it. I'm good, bro. Another cool thing about being left-handed, you can use it to your advantage when it comes to marketing yourself. A big thing in this business is being able to stand out from your competition, in quotes. If we're talking business-wise, it's competition. I know music isn't a competition. From a business standpoint, they are your competition as well as they could also be your allies. But point being, you have one more visual factor that helps you stand out from other players, and you can use the mythos of being left-handed to your advantage. One of the things that I feel like so many right-handed players take for granted that lefties never do is that feeling when you finally do get a new guitar and it's a freaking awesome guitar. I can't express to you the feeling of walking into a guitar store, seeing 60 to several hundred guitars on a wall, and maybe only being able to play 3 of them, and knowing that you're most likely never going to be taking those guitars home. When you finally do get a new guitar that's actually like a really good guitar, it is the most exciting feeling you will ever experience. It's like being surrounded by water but dying of thirst, and you finally find that clean glass of water. So you're a lot more grateful when you finally do get a guitar. That's about all the cool things I could think of off the top of my head. If there's any other cool things that you think of for being left-handed, again, let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, if you like what I do in this channel, please hit that like button. Please share this video. It really does help out the channel immensely. If you want to check out my band Crusade, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That is Crusade Nash. If you want to help me keep making awesome videos for you, you can go to Subscribestar, link in the description. And you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Become the Night. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next video. Rock on!